to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
Hey everyone, it's Jay for your NXT review for April 8th, 2025. How y'all doing today? It's been a rough week for me, I'm not going to lie. I wish things could get better, but I definitely watch NXT because we are on the road to Stand and Deliver, as they told you probably a whole bunch of times. Did you know? Did you know we were on the road to WrestleMania and Stand and Deliver? Did you know? Did you know? Because they told us. They told us the last 2 days, so Monday and Tuesday nights. They told us. I can't tell you how many times. I lost count. There was so many times. But anyway, we are on the road to Stand and Deliver, and it seems like NXT is doing a really good job doing having things progress forward. And it took a long time to get here. We're only like 10 days from this recording. We're only 9 days from Stand and Deliver, and they're still putting together the card. They're doing that for WrestleMania too, which I thought was really strange. Like, there was just an Instagram post from Nick Aldis saying that there's going to be a match at WrestleMania between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, and it's like, yeah, we know, dude. Thanks for letting us know. Like, we figured out that was going to happen. They did do a twist tonight at NXT for the women's title, one that I don't think anybody was expecting, which I'll talk about in a second. But we're getting there. I will tell you. Well, yeah, I guess I'll ruin some stuff. I will tell you that this WrestleMania / Stand and Deliver weekend seems like it's heavy on the multi-person matches, triple threats. There's a few fatal four-ways. There's a 6-woman ladder match for NXT. It's so many multi-person, multi-man, multi-woman matches, and I just don't understand why there's so many. I guess they just want to get as many people in as possible. Although I saw this thing about Braun Strowman, about how I feel like Braun Strowman is kind of the unsung hero this year. He's basically doing everything that they're asking him to do, but then they leave him off of the card at WrestleMania, which I think is kind of BS. You know, it's kind of BS that they would leave him off of WrestleMania card. Hopefully, he has some kind of a thing happening there, but he has really been he's really put over right now. He's putting over some of the other guys. He's putting over LA Knight. He's putting over Jacob Fatu. I know this isn't a main event podcast, show, but main roster show. But still, I like to talk about it because it goes into the fact that they're having multi-person matches all over the place the entire weekend. But then Braun Strowman gets left off, which I think is kind of sad. I do think, just again to wrap this up, I do think the unsung hero of WWE altogether, and Toto, is Seth Rollins. To me, Seth Rollins for the last, think about this for a second. I'm going to leave it at this. If Seth Rollins doesn't do the deed for Cody Rhodes, there may not be a Cody Rhodes right now. I know the story, yada, 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 but Seth Rollins, first he loses to him at WrestleMania as a surprise opponent. Then he loses to him again. Then he loses to him in a Hell in a Cell when Cody has half an arm. Anyway, I need to move on to NXT. I apologize, I got off on a tangent. So, this week's NXT, again from the Performance Center, because, we're going full force into Vegas next week. Vegas, baby. And it was on April 8th, 2025, again from the Performance Center in Winter Park, Florida. We had your commentators, Vic Joseph, Booker T, and Corey Graves. We had your ring announcer, Mike Rome, and we are going full force. So the first thing that happens is, before we go into the ring. The first thing that happens is Stephanie Vaquer tells Kelly Kincaid, she's now one of the interviewers in the back, that she will make her decision regarding the NXT Women's Championship match at Stand and Deliver after the upcoming match. And the upcoming match was Jordynne Grace and Jada Parker. And obviously we know this, it's been a couple weeks now. There's been an ongoing thing between Jordynne and Jada. So this was kind of the match that culminated it. And they were kind of, Vic Joseph was trying to like call it an unofficial number one contenders match. Like basically, so Stephanie went out for commentary, although, she didn't really able to say much because English isn't her language. Like, I understand that. But Vic Joseph was trying to get her to say, like, so you're picking the person that wins this match, and she wouldn't commit to that. So, and we'll see why in a second. So we had Jordynne Grace versus Jada Parker. This was a great match. Listen, Jordynne Grace, not only is she a great wrestler, but she's a great seller. She made Jada Parker. I love Jada Parker. I think she's awesome. She's going to be in the main roster, I believe, at some point in the future. But she's not Jordynne, and she's not Stephanie. She's really good, but they are superior, and that's just the way I feel. But Jordynne made her look really good in this match, and at the end of the match, we have Parker going for a Dragon Sleeper, but then Grace counters with Dragon Sleeper of her own. Parker then hits couple knee strikes and then has a Gourd Buster, but Grace avoids the Hypnotic, which is that hip bump that she does. It's her finishing move. Grace then lands a Suicide Dive. If this is the Suicide Dive that I'm thinking of, though, you got to remember, she totally got her toes caught on the rope. She hit the side of the mat and the ground hard. There has been multiple people recently that have done suicide dives that keep getting caught in the ropes, and I don't know if there's a reason for that or what. But there's been like Jey Uso did that one time, and there's another time I believe, so I don't forget who it was. And then now Jordynne Grace tries a suicide dive and gets her toes caught in the ropes. So I wonder if the ropes are closer together or something. I don't know. And then Grace hits forearm shivers and eventually inadvertently clotheslines Stephanie outside the ring, and then Stephanie inadvertently clotheslines Jordynne, which then leads to a disqualification. After the match, all hell kind of breaks loose, and Julia, in the middle of all three of them fighting, Julia comes out and she helps Stephanie take care of Jordynne and Jada, and then Julia attacks Stephanie. Now, there's a couple things. Number one, I didn't think Julia would be back this soon. I thought the whole reason why Julia and Stephanie fought at Roadblock a couple weeks ago was because Julia was hurt and she was going to be out for a little while. Apparently, that's not the case. She's back, and not only that, later on we find out, and I'm just going to say it now for the sake of time. Later on, we find out that Stephanie decided that she's going to fight all three of them in a fatal four-way for the women's title. So we have a triple threat for the men's NXT title, and we have a fatal four-way for the women's NXT title. So who the heck knows who's going to win? I could tell you two people that are probably not going to win in my predictions, and I'll do my predictions next week. But the two people I think that are probably not going to win are Javon Evans, and not because he's not good enough, because it's just not yet his time. I don't think Javon Evans is going to win the NXT men's title. And I don't think, for the reasons I just said, I don't think that Jada Parker is going to win the women's title. I think it's either going to be Stephanie retaining, Jordynne Grace winning, or Julia recapturing. But I would say tend to believe that Julia won't regain the title. So it's really in my mind. And now, like I said, I'm going to think on it and come up with predictions next week. In my mind, I think that it's either between Jordynne or Stephanie, and I haven't figured that out yet, but I will. Anyway, Jordynne Grace wins the match via disqualification, and then Julia attacks Stephanie, I guess, as I said, and I read a tweet or something, I think it was a tweet, that said that Julia is there to win the championship back, not to make friends, which is why she turned on Stephanie. So it was kind of a bit of a heel turn. I'm guessing it's a heel turn because everybody loves Stephanie, from what I can tell. Like if you watch the Performance Center, all the fans there, they all really seem like they're backing Stephanie. I think Stephanie is. And when I was at MSG and Stephanie won the title, she definitely was the fan favorite. So anyway, after that. Wait, by the way, this ended really abruptly. It was really weird. It's like all of a sudden they were doing it, and all of a sudden, boom, it was done. And it was short. It wasn't like terribly long. It was like maybe like 10 minutes total, because they had the commercials and everything. But anyway, after this, we have a video recap of Ricky Saints winning the North American Championship and then getting attacked by Ethan Page after the match. Then, I mentioned them last week. There's a group named Swipe Right. They're on WWE Evolve, which is the show on Tubi. Which again, if you like wrestling, it's more wrestling than story, but there's story too. But they're wrestling there because they're all like young kids or people that are like have been around for a little while. There's one woman, I forgot her name. She was from TNA. They are, it's wrestling at its like kids trying to make themselves look good so they can get up to the NXT roster and eventually the main roster. So, Swipe Right talks to Hank and Tank in the backstage area, and they want to take some notes during the match with Fraxium. So Swipe Right is facing Fraxium tonight. Then we have the Culling making a promise to Shawn Spears that they'll do everything they can to get back his NXT North American Championship. Spears appreciates the passion, but the title is no longer the focus. The title was a vessel to bring them closer. Spears wants collective success, not just individual. So tonight, the focus is on Izzy Dame qualifying for the Women's North American Championship ladder match at Stand and Deliver. Don't dwell on what happened last week, he says. Focus on what she can achieve. Spears is sending Brooks and Nico after Hank and Tank, too. Then we have a match between Fraxium and Swipe Right. Swipe Right is really good. They're annoying, but that's their character. But I would so they're not officially on NXT. They're on Evolve. But if they were on NXT, I would actually put them probably middle of the pack of the tag teams on NXT. And they're a real team. They're not just two guys thrown together. They're a real team. They have a real tag team name. And they're like Swipe Right. They're both like in their lower 20s. So it's a good name for them to kind of go along with their youngness, I guess. It was a great match. The match was great. Swipe Right put on a good show, and and Fraxium is. Fraxium. The only reason why Fraxium is still in NXT is because there's no other good tag teams right now and if they moved up to the main roster, and they have been dabbling with Fraxium separately on the main roster with Axiom going against Gunther, and then last week on SmackDown, Nathan Frazier went against Ray Phoenix. So yeah. But it was like I said, Swipe Right and Fraxium was a great match. Ultimately, of course, Fraxium wins. They're not going to get beaten by a team that's from the lower level, I guess we'll say, for a lack of a better term. But it was a great match, high quality, probably the match of the night as far as wrestling goes, as far as actual wrestling goes. Fraxium and Swipe Right was probably the match of the night, I would say. But Fraxium ends up winning, and the way they won was. Axiom did the Avalanche Spanish Fly, which, let me tell you, to me, every time Axiom does the Spanish Fly from the top rope, it's a thing of beauty. And then followed right up by Nathan Frazier doing the Phoenix Splash. That's just, it's so, they're so good. They're so good. They could give the tag teams in the main roster, like I would almost say they're the best tag team in all of WWE. I know that the Street Profits and the rest of them have been around, and New Day have been around a long time, a lot longer, but like they're really good. And I really hope they don't break them up. I I know this is different than what I've said in the past, but that was before. This is now. A person can change their mind. But, yeah, they need to eventually. I hope they go to the main roster because the tag team division on the main roster, especially on Raw, needs something like them. Then we see Fallon Henley and JC Jane bickering with each other about who should represent Fatal Influence in the Women's North American Championship ladder match qualifier. And then Jasmine Nix basically says, nope, I got it, I'm doing it, and then she walks out. So the third match we have is Sol Ruca with Zarya in her corner against Jasmine Nix with the rest of Fatal Influence in her corner, and it's a Women's North American Championship ladder match qualifier. Whew, that's a lot to say. Another great match. Again, and I know I keep saying this, I mean, obviously they're not going to keep bouncing people up to the main roster, and I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon, but Sol Ruca she's going to be on the main roster at some point. Her finisher, and I think that when the normal, regular, everyday, non-NXT WWE fans, so like not us who watch NXT every week, but the WWE fans that have not seen the up-and-comers, when they see Sol Ruca's soul catcher, like a cutter that she does, the soul catcher, they're going to be like, what the heck was that? It's so good, and she's so smooth at doing it. She ends up winning the match with the soul catcher because, hey, I mean, it's like you don't get up from that. The Soul Snatcher, I think it was a Soul Snatcher. But yeah, it was a great match. Not a huge. Jasmine Nix was just okay, but Sol Ruca is awesome. And so now, interestingly, we have Sol Ruca and Zarya both in the ladder match at Stand and Deliver. So that will be interesting, I think. Then Sarah Schaefer, she's backstage in an interview with Javon Evans. He knows what DarkState is. If Oba and Trick would have listened to him, they would not be in the position they are tonight. He's tired of the little bro treatment, and he's coming for the NXT Championship, and Javon is taking all of this step by step, he says. Then a reporter tried to ask Julia in the NXT parking lot why she attacked her best friend, and she wants a rematch with Stephanie at Stand and Deliver. Great. Like, that would be awesome. Obviously, I've already ruined it and said what Stephanie decided, but that would, to have Stephanie and Julia go one-on-one without the confines of the NXT show on the CW would be so much better. Like, the fact, and I said this before, the fact that there was, I think I said this with DJ Kuzma at the time, the fact that there was a time limit on the episode and they were the last match really kind of, I think it didn't do them justice. Like, it was a great match, don't get me wrong, but it would have been so much better if they didn't have the actual time constraint of the 2 hours of NXT on the CW. So then we have the fourth match, which is the Culling versus Hank and Tank. This was really just another way for Hank and Tank to lose a match. I like Hank and Tank; they're fun. But, and they're going on this losing streak, and I am sure there's a purpose for it down the line. But they've literally not won a match, and they're going every week, and every week they're losing to No Quarter Catch Crew. This week they lost to the Culling. They've lost to basically every tag team there is. So I like I said, eventually I'm sure there's going to be a Hank and Tank payoff, which I'm looking forward to be honest. Like I said, I like them. They're good guys. I mean, they're not the greatest wrestlers in the world. They look like they just stood up from a lawn chair, grabbed a beer, and started wrestling. That's to me the way they look. Not that that's a problem, but that's their character. But it was a good match. It was a decent match. Hank and Tank, it really looked like they were going to pull it out at the end, but unfortunately they did end up losing by a Dominator flying knee drop combination from the Culling. So then there's there's a segment. It started by Ricky Saints. I'm not gonna go through what everything was said because it was a long drawn out thing. I think it went kind of too much. They put too many. I think they're setting up, like, literally they're going to be setting up another multi-person, multi-man match, it seems like, for the North American title now. And I thought we were getting Ricky Saints and Ethan Page one-on-one. But it seems like now they're setting up like a five-man fatal four-way or whatever for the NXT North American title. I don't know if this is where they're going with it, but first we have Ricky Saints out there talking. Then Lexus King comes out and gives his spiel. Then Eddie Thorpe comes out and talks about how the North American title is his birthright because of the way that the white man stole his land. I mean, please. Sorry, but come on. Then Wes Lee comes out and says you can't talk about the North American title without talking about Wes Lee. And that's true. Because he is the second longest running North American champion. And then finally Ethan Page comes out. There's a big brawl with all the guys. Ethan Page basically lays out Ricky Saints again for the second week in a row. I hope they do Ricky versus Ethan one-on-one at Stand and Deliver, but the way this is set up, it looks like it could be, it could very well be a 5-person match of some kind for the North American title. I guess we'll find out next week, because as of right now, Ricky Saints doesn't have a match to defend the title. So we'll see next week what happens. By the way, Stand and Deliver is looking to be something really special, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Okay, then we have Stephanie Vacour in Ava's office with Mr. Stone and Stevie Turner there. And she's made a decision. Like I said before, she's going to go against Julia Jordan and Jada in a fatal 4-way match. So that's what the Stephanie's title defense will be. And I'll talk about the predictions next week when we find out what all the matches are. Because as of right now, as of this moment in time, we still don't know what all the matches are. Okay, a lot going on. Sarah Schreiber. She's backstage with an interview with Trick Williams. He's not here for any sob story, but every time it comes to trying to get his title back, there's always someone in the way. First, Eddie Thorpe, now Javon Evans. Take a look at his resume. He's leaving Stand and Deliver with a title around his waist. He's concerned about the DarkState. He needs Obafemi and Javon to bring their A game tonight. However, at Stand and Deliver, Trick is going to kick both of their butts. He didn't say butts. PG show, trying to keep it PG. Then the fifth match we have is Wesley against Yoshiki Inamura. I'm never going to say his name right. Another great match. I like Yoshiki. I like his style. I hope to see more of him in singles competition. I mean, he's good with Josh Briggs, don't get me wrong, but like him in singles competition. And he's like, I guess he's like a mini sumo wrestler. Like he kind of did some sumo moves, but he's not like a huge sumo wrestler. Like obviously Yokozuna, Rodney Inoue, he was bigger than life, but even like the regular sized sumo wrestlers are pretty decently sized. He's not very big. He does the sumo thing, so I'm guessing that's his shtick in Japan, which is fine. It was a good match. Not the match of the evening. I mean, Wesley is always Wesley, but it was a very good match. I know I'm going through these things quick, but there's a lot going on, and I need to have dinner. To be quite honest, I'm going to have dinner. But I wanted to get this done because I wanted to be sure that you guys had a chance to hear it before the weekend. Then, so the winner of the match ended up being Wesley. He ended up doing a cardio kick to get the win. So, the cardio kick is really cool too. Then we have a promo with Obafemi. He says, DarkState, your presence in here in NXT has seemed to put the entire locker room on edge. Everyone is wondering when you will strike and where you will strike from, and the ruler knows all too well about that. In addition, you attacking me last week, I haven't forgotten about what you did to me at Vengeance Day, because you hit me with your last shot, with your best shot, and you failed to put me down. So tonight, I'm going to return the favor. And when I'm done with you four fools, I will turn my attention fully to Trick Williams and Javon Evans, because in 2 weeks it will be their, it's only 9 days. It will be their opportunity to hit me with their best shot, and they will find out the hard way that the ruler can't be stopped. And they will suffer the same fate that DarkState will suffer tonight, and that is defeat at the hands of Obafemi. So, the sixth match we have is Izzy Dame versus Ren Sinclair. Again, I love Ren Sinclair. I think she's funny. If you ever watch her TikTok, she does like this Wednesday. Every Wednesday she comes out with a TikTok. It's funny. It's cute. She had no chance against Izzy Dame. And even if she did win for some reason, she would have had zero chance. Same as when she was in the Iron Survivor Challenge earlier this year. Like, she would have zero chance of winning, but she didn't even qualify. Izzy Dame came out on top. Decent match. All the matches were decent tonight. I mean, there was the one tag team match with Fraxim and Swipe Right. I think to me took the night, but that was about pure wrestling style. But yeah, no, it was a decent match, and Izzy Dame comes out on top and wins. And so now we have four people involved in the women's ladder match for the North American title. We have Soruka, Zarya. We have Izzy Dame and somebody else I can't think of right now. I'll let you know next week when I do. I'll let you know next week when I do my predictions. But we still have two more qualifiers for next Tuesday. We'll find out who the two other qualifiers are, and then we will get ready for the match on like a week from Saturday. Whew. Ava tells Roxanne Perez, Lash Legend, and Fatal Influence that there won't be any last chance qualifying match this year, and they should have won their matches. Ava has an idea for Stand and Deliver, and Roxanne says that she could not be a tag team because she doesn't have a tag team partner. It seems like they're going to be doing Fatal Influence versus the Meta Girls and Roxanne. Great idea. I think this is just a way to get Roxanne and Lash like on the card, because like Roxanne, like I think her next step is to go to the main roster. I just don't know how it went. So then Uriah Connors and Kale Dixon still wants guidance from Andre Chase. There's a little thing about that. Then we have Hank and Tank talking to the Street Profits in the backstage area, and they said they're going in. There's going to be, and the Street Profits say to them, there's going to be ups and downs, and Ford tells Hank and Tank to lean into who they are. They don't have to do anything different. They just be Hank and Tank. And the Profits tell Hank and Tank that there'll be a tag team gauntlet match next week, and the winners will battle Fraxim for the NXT Championship at Stand and Deliver. And it's time to lock in. It's time to stand and deliver. And this is where I think that they elevate Hank and Tank. Right? So every other tag team so far has been a subplot to Hank and Tank constantly losing. However, by the way, I hate gauntlet matches. I think gauntlet matches are the stupidest things in the world. The fact that somebody has to potentially go for like 4 or 5 matches, depending on how many teams or people are in a gauntlet match, it's ridiculous. Hate gauntlet matches. There's going to be one for the women's tag team titles on SmackDown, I think. There's going to be a gauntlet match for the women's tag team titles. Now there's going to be a gauntlet match for the NXT tag titles. And again, to me, it's. I wish there was a better way to do it. But either way, I like the whole tag team battle royal thing. That was really cool. I should bring that back. But anyway, I have a feeling that this is a way to get Hank and Tank to be able to go against Fraxim for the tag titles and potentially win the tag titles, and not because they're not better than Fraxim, but Fraxim's had the titles for a while. And who knows now that they're kind of playing with them on the main roster, like both Axiom and Nathan Frazier, maybe they're trying to just to see about moving them forward. Who knows? We'll have to see. But anyway, there's going to be a gauntlet match next week, so we'll see how that goes. Next week on NXT, Ethan Page will battle Wesley King and Ethan Page for a fatal 4-way match, and the winner will go against Ricky Saints. I totally missed that. It happens. I'm watching it as I go through my day. So sometimes, I'm making dinner while I'm watching it and I miss something. So Ethan Page will go against Wesley, Lexus Key, and what's his name? Eddie Thorpe on a Fatal 4-Way match, and the winner will go against Ricky Saints for the North American title at Stand and Deliver, plus the final 2 qualifying matches. So this is I honestly think that this is just a way for Ethan Page to qualify to go against Ricky Saints. How could you not have Ethan versus Ricky Saints? You have to. You have to, right? Right? You have to? Anyway. Final match. 7th match. There were 7 matches. 7 matches on Tuesday. Then we have Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans versus DarkState. This was a fun match. At the beginning, you didn't really know who the 3 members of the 4 of DarkState were going to go against each other. To be honest, I don't remember all their names. So I know 3 of the guys ended up being in the match against Oba, Trick, and Javon. Javon is trying to be the kind of the glue that keeps him together because, like the cheerleader, like, let's go, guys, we can beat him, yada, yada. Turns out the answer to that is no, you can't. And the reason why was because Oba and Trick ended up getting into a brawl on the outside, which left Javon Evans in the ring by himself. And he got destroyed by DarkState. He got destroyed by them. They did that cool powerbomb thing where 2 of the guys, like kind of like a Bloodline 2.0 powerbomb, like a Jacob Fatu powerbomb, with one guy doing a powerbomb. But it's hard to describe. One guy's on the ropes, 2 guys are pushing him down. Great move. They didn't really execute it very well, to be honest, but it's a great move nonetheless. And they pinned Javon Evans. So DarkState actually won the match. And then after the match, Stax gets up and says that next week they're going to do a match between a 3-way tag match between the family, the D'Angelo family versus DarkState. So we have to look forward to that next week as well. Wow, 7 matches with all the other stuff going on. It was so packed this week. I didn't realize how packed it was until I started doing this review. Hey guys, listen. Patreon, WWE Podcast at Patreon. We got 7-day free trial. We've got 7-day free trial on, I believe, 7-day free trial on Apple Podcasts as well. Or you can listen to us on Spotify. And there's a link to Spotify to Patreon, so you can get it all done in one shot. No commercials. Because every time you hear my lustrous voice, boom, there's a commercial interrupting me. If you're on either Spotify or Apple without having paid to not have the commercials. Do it without the commercials. Then you get me, you get all the other guys, you get Matt, you get all the shows without commercials. So much better. You have no idea, it's so much better. Unless you're just constantly hitting that advanced button for the commercials. You shouldn't do that, though. That's how we get paid. Anyway, can't wait for next week. Can't wait for Stand and Deliver. Can't wait for WrestleMania weekend, man. I'm literally going to be sitting in front of my TV from Friday night at SmackDown till Tuesday night on NXT. And it's just going to be nonstop. Like, think about it. It's like what? 1, 2. So SmackDown is 3 hours. So that's 3. And Stand and Deliver another 3 hours. That's 6. WrestleMania probably 4 hours one night. That's 10. 4 nights the next night. That's 14. Raw is 2, let's say 3 hours just for sake of. So that's 16. And then NXT on Tuesday, 2 hours. That's 18 hours of wrestling over an entire weekend. And I haven't even mentioned the Hall of Fame, the Slammies, they have roasts and stuff going on. It's like a whole big thing. Like it's gonna be great. And unfortunately, my dad's not doing well. He's in the hospital this week, not feeling well. He's got a bit of pneumonia. And so unfortunately, we may or may not be able to watch it together. I hope he gets out in time for us to watch it. But if not, I'm still going to watch it, and I'll watch it again with him because that's our thing. And if I don't talk to you before, I will talk to you next week. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.